All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Joint Education and Human Services Subcommittee / Town Council meeting of Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Veterans Meeting Room. Just as a note, this is being recorded by audio and video. Agenda item number 1 is call to order. Agenda item number 2 is roll call. Councilor Montigny is here. Councilor Ortiz.
Present.
Councilor Marchetti is not here. Citizen Member Figueroa is not here, and Citizen Member Provo.
Present.
And we have a quorum of 3 out of 5. Agenda item number 3 is review, discuss the FY 2026-1545 Bay Path Regional Technical School assessment in the amount of $1,318,115 and entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, all right.
Yeah,
Thank
please.
you. So our recommendation is the Bay Path assessment has come in at $1,318,115. Recommendation is to fund it as presented. We're happy to have Cindy Schofield here from Bay Path Regional. She is the recent new business manager for the regional school district, so we welcome her to Southbridge for her first presentation to the town of Southbridge.
Thank you. So this is a proposal. I'm going to give you some backdrop. So our funding sources, and these are based on the governor's budget that came out in January 2025. They are preliminary estimates, so they are subject to change as the House and Senate deliberate on the budget. There has been one draft already submitted that there are some minor changes, but looking at it right now, estimated Chapter 70 funding for FY26 is $14,565,806, and estimated Chapter 71 funding is $1,375,375. How that impacts Bay Path compared to FY25. There is an increase in Chapter 70 of $112,194 and an increase in minimum contribution of $388,016. Required net school spending, an increase of $500,210. The FY26 total budget for assessment is $30,298,721. We are presenting this as member towns' assessment are at minimum. There's no increase in that this year. Our budget includes debt service assessment of $1,550,003. Operational budget does not require municipal funds above minimum contributions by communities. Member assessments this year are totaled at $13,665,798. Some information background. Although assessments are at the minimum, it is important to note that required minimum contributions that each town must contribute have increased collectively by $388,016. Members' town transportation assessment has increased by $345,176 due to a decrease in regional transportation reimbursement funds. The district has allocated $260,531 in the E&D fund to partially offset an even higher increase to the member towns. Financial highlights, just a little bit repetitive. The Chapter 70 is $14,565,806. School choice assessment this year is $293,789. Transportation is $1,375,375. We're going to be using $75,000 from excess and deficiency to continue funding the OPEB liability account. In FY24, the district missed its net school spending by $660,595. The FY26 budget contains an appropriation of $500,000 from E&D to reduce this shortfall. Again, based on the governor's budget, you'll see the breakdown, Chapter 70, school choice assessment, minimum contributions. We also have included this year in FY26 some interest earnings of $150,000, E&D OPEB $75,000, and then the gap from previous year $500,000. Transportation $1,375,375, E&D assessment reduction $260,531, and transportation reimbursement fund $500,000. Again, this is one of those numbers that we expect will change on the governor's budget based on the reimbursement rate for transportation. So we're just waiting to get those final numbers once that happens. Debt service, you'll see that our principal, we still owe $845,000 for this year, and interest $707.03, bringing us to the $1,552.03. There are no capital expenses this year. Budget for assessments is $30,298,721. You take out the school assessment choice and bring that to $30,592,510,000. The highlights. A lot of our community towns have asked us to look at some new vocational programs. So we have added a new diesel vocation program to be starting in FY26. We received a capital skills grant this year to do the setup for that program of $750,000. So we have hired one of the instructors halfway through the year to get that program up and running. Some of our other vocational programs have done a lot of the work in that shop to get it ready for the diesel program to start. We're going to be adding 10 part-time student summer positions. They're going to be helping through a kind of a co-op version. They'll be helping around the school of the grounds, in the school getting the classrooms ready, kind of summer cleaning. We are adding a vocational instructional coach. We are also adding a health/dental vocational aide. We have met the contractual wages increase for all of our employees, and we are hit with a health insurance increase of 18%. This is something that we're part of a bigger consortium, and we have asked the consortium to kind of, over the course of years, that rather than doing no increases over the course of years, to please do a small increase so that we're not hit with a bigger increase in any given year. Other highlights is that we're going to be continuing the use of SOA funds to provide significant professional development to all staff, especially programs focused on social, emotional issues of students. And also those funds provide programs and speakers to students to address issues such as bullying, bias, mental health, and more. Some of the supply materials we're looking at, we have been able to fund the vocational accounts to meet their needs. As far as some big ticket items, the culinary arts program needs a new steaming oven. It's quite old and it's costing a lot to be repaired on a regular basis. Building property needs a new landscape utility vehicle. HVAC, we're going to be updating the student workstations. And then automotive collision is in need of a new frame machine. Freshman seat allocation. So in the past, we have brought in 325 freshmen. With the addition of the diesel program, we have increased this to 330 freshman students this year. I was supposed earlier that we accepted 330 students, and we have 410 students on our wait list currently waiting to see which kids are going to be accepted. You'll see Southbridge, you are 47 students in your freshman class for Southbridge. Foundation enrollment, this is based on the towns and their enrollment. So you can see for Southbridge, FY26, 210 was the number, FY25, 103, so you'll have an increase of 7 students this year over the course of 4 years attending Bay Path. We'll have total kids for FY26, 1,236, compared to this year of 1,243, and that's just based on a formula from the state that we get by foundation enrollment. So this is a statement of assessments for Bay Path. For Southbridge, you'll see that the minimum contribution is $1,011,436. The transportation assessment is $84,951, and the debt service is $221,728, with a total of $1,318,115. And again, this is just break down Southbridge as a one town. So based on FY25 to 26, there's a $41,086 increase for our proposed assessments, $59,666 in transportation, and $7,207 for debt service, with a collective increase of $107,959 for the town of Southbridge. Grand totals, just matching the numbers earlier, proposed assessment is $13,665,000, an increase of $733,172, or 5.67% across the board. And as a community for Bay Path, we always appreciate your continued support and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions at the table first?
Do not right now.
No. Okay, Councilor Chenier, I'll go to Councilor Kelly.
Statement of assessment 2025-26. Maybe you can explain to me a little bit about foundation enrollment. We're at 210. Now our minimum contribution is $1,011,436. How come such a difference between Southbridge and let's use an example of Spencer or Webster? Their cost, minimum contribution is more, but less than, I don't understand that.
It's based, that's something that's based on formulas from so we get that from the DESI website, based on the governor's numbers of foundation enrollment. So it's based on the number of school-age kids allocated in the town. So it's all driven by that data. So there's some differences because also cost of living comes into play. So there's some of the towns that have higher cost of living or per student expense, so it's all relative to that.
Okay. One question, if you got money left over at the end of the year, where does it go? Does it come back to the communities or do you keep it into a special account?
It would go into E&D. We're only allowed to, so at the end of the year, to meet net school spending, we're only allowed to have 5% of our budget. So, this year we don't anticipate having much money left over, with expenses, and then also for next year with some of the increases, with health insurance and that kind of stuff. But it goes into E&D to offset expenses for the following fiscal year. So this year we put in like 500,000 to decrease some expenses from the E&D account.
Okay, do you have an account where for expansions and stuff that you add money each year to? Or is that the E&D account?
That's the E&D account.
Okay. That's all for now. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. Maybe I read this wrong, but it looked like on the slide, we had it broken down for Southbridge.
This one?
Yeah, the transportation increase of 236%. What accounts for that?
The transportation?
Yes.
That is because of the reimbursement from the state last year. It was less than we anticipated. So there wasn't, the reimbursement we get doesn't come through, so we have to attribute that to our member community accounts.
So all the communities saw an increase like this?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? Bay Path budget. Mr. Manager, you're all set? Okay, if you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present.
Perfect.
Thanks. All right, agenda item number 4 is review and discuss the FY 2026-1610 Jacob Edwards Library budget in the amount of $586,208. Entertain a motion to submit to town council as presented.
Motion.
Mr. Manager and Margaret, it's so good to see you as always.
Thank you, Chair.
So I'd like to, Margaret, go over the highlights of the budget. Just in regards to this, there are no new positions in this budget, as I stated previously. The budget takes into effect any 2% increase that we're budgeting for employees for this year as a COLA. The longevity is just simply by the town's policy, and most of it's for Margaret. Right, Margaret? I'm just saying. You
Yes,
will note.
30 years.
Yeah.
This is the summary.
You will note that, again, electricity has been moved out of this account. Natural gas has stayed in this account. Ironically, today, we received our first invoice on our new gas supplier. And the way they did the billing, one bill comes in, we don't have to send it off to every department anymore. You'd be happy that you don't have to submit it. So we'll see about moving that and transition that to a different account, or just pay out of the budgets and move natural gas next fiscal year out of munis. So Margaret will go through what the minimum that we have to contribute so that she can keep state funds, I believe. And
So,
are you all set, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, no,
I didn't know if it was-
no, totally. I'm good with what you're saying.
So,
I'm just waiting to get into the nuts and bolts. This is good stuff.
I didn't know if you
Good
had
stuff.
needed to talk to something.
No.
So, I'll turn it over to Margaret.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. I've just passed out a paper, and it's just come from the Department of Local Services, which shows the ratio of library expenditure to the general fund, and it's just 0.83 was last year percent. Just and you can see it's under 1%.
Okay.
So just as a headline.
Very cool.
Thank you. So as the manager has just pointed out, both the full-time and part-time staff, of which we have a total of 12, everybody's going to get the proposal is to get a 2% increase. I'm happy to say that we're fully staffed since 4/22. We haven't been since last October, so that's really helpful. The longevity relates to 2 of the staff being on staff for 30 years and going into the next tier. That's why there's an increase of 15.7%. The electricity is out of the budget, which is going to make a change, and I have a conversation started with the state about that, because there will be some adjustments on that. It'll actually be in our favour.
Oh.
Yeah. But it'll take a while. And most of our line items have stayed the same. There were a few that have decreased from the requests that we had put in, and that was just based on the information that we had. So basically, buildings and grounds and materials, you see some 20% increases, but they're only amounting to like $200, $100, and then there's decreases in book processing of minus 28.6%, which is $400, and dues and subscriptions minus 10.5%, which is $100. So you can see the adjustment there.
If you don't mind, and I see that you used the whole 1,400 this year. How come it gets to go down this year for book processing and dues? Did you guys get rid of a certain? Did the price of something go down?
Well, we were asked. I mean, we put in a robust request, and we were enlightened about the state of the situation, and we submitted then some cost-saving efforts.
Oh well, thank you.
And where we can, what we try to do is, like spend the budget judiciously, but at the same time, if we can in 1 year, and then the next year maybe not be so demanding in our requests.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
Very good.
And basically, I think just to look at the percentage change, you can see that we have decreased by 934, plus the electricity coming out of that account,
Right.
which is huge. And then $500 is what has increased. It's the slight increase. So you can see that there's about a $400 apart from the electricity.
So you still were able to cut $400 out.
Yeah, so
All right.
I think this will work. I'm hoping it will, and I feel that we need to be mindful of the state of the economy, and the staff is always very careful, and we do look after things, try to keep things going. So
Well, that's very good.
And-
It's great to hear it's fully staffed too.
yeah, and this year we were able to do some upgrades, so that's kind of nice. And with the small cap budget that's in the next page, the 3,000 small cap account,
Oh yeah.
that 6,000 allows us to do some small upgrades at the library. So this year what we used it for is for floor covering, to just upgrade it. So it's kind of it makes the place look pop a little. So we've worked on the porch and the carpet, so the entrance is sort of appealing.
Well, that's good. So you've been able to make use of the small capital budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spent it all.
Well,
Even though it doesn't look like it's spent here, but then, yeah.
it looks great to me.
We do have, the RFP completed, we just have to get out the door to do the painting. Maybe, we may have to look at a couple additional little areas because of some water damage that you had. I don't know if that captured it,
Yeah.
within the original quote.
Yeah.
We are undergoing a elevator modernization review because that elevator is very old.
Yes.
Parts are hard to get, and it requires, after so many cycles, the elevator stops.
Every
And you have
month.
to have- Every
Yeah.
month, and we have to have it reset, so it's time for modernization. Margaret last year wrote a grant to try to do an ADA, to try to get some funds through
Mass office.
municipal ADA grant. We did not get it, and they asked, well, part of it was to do an ADA self-assessment. So we do have
Okay.
Central Mass Planning Regional Commission, we talked about that last night.
Yep,
They are
yep.
coming out next week to do that review for us. We'll have that review. The new grant period has opened up. We will submit another grant up to $250,000. The best guess, not guess, but the estimate from the elevator experts. The elevator experts are the same ones that later on tonight we're gonna talk about West Street. Are the ones that reviewed, did a pretty thorough review of the library elevator, so they're working up an estimate for us to be able to go out to bid. So hopefully all the timing is lining up nice, that we have the ADA, we can submit the new grant, we'll have the proposal, we'll probably have to match some funds from the town for the grant, but estimated right now is about $350,000 just to modernize it.
Okay.
But the nice thing is the structure of the elevator is in very good shape. It's the internals that have to be upgraded. But the box, the shaft and all that is in very good shape. And I have to say, going there was probably the cleanest elevator shaft I've ever seen. Margaret runs a tight ship when it comes to that stuff. So we
good.
thank her.
And I'd like to just add to that it's the staff really that
Yeah.
makes the place run so well, and it's like a well-oiled machine. But it's everybody chipping in.
Well,
And I'm
that's
very grateful for that. And as well,
great to hear.
our colleagues at Town Hall who also provide us with other resources and services, you know, like the DPW, they've just done the landscaping outside and it just looks great. So, and even the invisible services such as like the finance and all that,
Yeah.
you know, all that really helps to make it all work. And we need those support services.
Between all that and the trustees, it's just great to see that so many people care like a lot about our library. So it makes me happy. I like the history of Southbridge to stay intact. That's a good place for some of it. Does anybody have anything about the library? George, Councilor Chenier?
Salaries and wages, someone can explain whether Jack or Margaret, technical services anticipated,
Yep.
technical services part-time anticipated, what is that, new
Those-
position?
No. I stated earlier there were no new positions. Those were open at the time of the budget preparation. They were not filled. So
Okay.
that's why there's no names on it.
Okay,
Now they are filled, but this budget had already been presented.
okay,
And,
I didn't hear you say that.
yeah, it's already been presented and, we had already printed and everything, and those new employees have just recently started, so
Okay.
those positions are
I
filled.
don't see no
422 actually is the
I don't
date.
see no maintenance people in here,
The maintenance comes out of DPW.
okay.
So Joel and Jamie split duties on a rotated basis between town hall, DPW, and the library.
Okay, that answers it. Thank you.
Anybody else? The table's good. All right. Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Maria.
much.
All right. Agenda item number 5 is review and discuss the FY 2026-1152 Health Department budget in the amount of $229,041. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved. Second.
Hello, thank you very much. So, in this budget, again, salary and wages, no new positions. The salary, we have an increase in this step to step 5. So that accounts for the director of public health, the food inspector Patty, moving up in the step, and plus the 2%. You'll note that it says vacant health inspector position, but that is filled. Chris Hart will be starting next week, so that position will be filled. That position is offset by the CDBG allocated at $32,000 for that position. And then you're going down, the biggest thing, you'll see a reduction in repair and maintenance of motor vehicles from $5,000 to $2,500. So that was the 2016 Ford F-150 and 2017 Ford Focus. The reduction in that is because all the vehicles for the inspections department were part of this budget, and we've had it found out, we said last week, last night, we had that repair maintenance vehicles, and it had increased. The reason for that is the allocation of the vehicles between 2 departments now, instead of just one, okay? I will note that the Ford Ranger that's in, to the inspections department at the curbside went into the DPW today to have brakes repaired, and was found that the shackles is all rotted out underneath, so we'll have to make some thoughts on that. Everything else pretty much has been zero funded on that page, no increases. Office supplies, we reduced that by $1,000 because we had reviewed their expenses to date and its combined office, so that was reduced. Print forms did go up from $750 to $1,500 because they get the ticket books and all that for enforcement. So that's
Oh, now that we have enforcement, yep, okay. Very good.
the other increase on this budget is conference and meetings from $1,500 to $3,000, and dues and subscriptions from $500 to $1,000. And that increases, we were able before to fund conference and meetings through the Health Alliance, but the fact that we came out of the Health Alliance now, we have to absorb those costs, so that's the reason for that.
Okay,
And that's
sounds fair enough.
all we have on this budget. If there's any questions?
Yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Teddy?
Not really, I mean.
Makes sense to
It's
me.
pretty cut and dry, like
Yeah.
you said. We're gonna move forward, the thing is. The question I did have is,
Yeah.
are we doing the budget, are we changing the budget this year for the gas and plumbing?
That was last night's meeting.
That was last night's meeting, okay, alright, sorry.
That's okay.
To the,
No, we can talk offline.
okay, good, alright, so, other than that, I mean, we're clear.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Does anybody have any questions at the table?
I do not.
Councilor
Just one
Shenny.
question to Jack about the foundation money.
So what?
We're not in the foundation no
That Health
longer.
Alliance at the council.
Alliance?
Yep.
What did you say that's cost us now because we're not in it?
Any conference and meetings, they funded that and paid for those conference and meetings.
They also paid for equipment, didn't they?
They paid for some equipment as well, yes.
So that's gonna be an increase to the town to send these people to those conferences and,
Any conference meetings, dues, subscriptions, yep.
all right.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? No? Mr. Chairman?
I'd just like to compliment the director on a lot of the stuff that he's bringing to the community as far as information, highway, communication with people. It's been a big change, and I think that you're seeing a user-friendly department, and it's getting better by the day. And I really like the concept of the little yellow car that saves all the gas. You know, maybe we should look at as a council, you know, purchasing vehicles, what color they'll be and stuff like that. I think we could work on some of that going into the future, you know. I always thought the fire department should be red, you know, and DPW was always yellow. Inspections, you know, you
What?
identify the car in the neighborhood. They know it's him, you know. And I think
White
the
would be
markings
nice.
have to be of a certain size, but we can work on it next year.
Cool.
Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thanks, Teddy.
Very good, thank you, guys.
Agenda item number 6 is review, discuss the FY 2026-1549 Community Center budget in the amount of $35,995. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On this budget, I'm gonna say our apologies. We will draft up the new budget, make any adjustments that we need to make. It came to our attention early this week, that in the formula grant for Katie's salary, it should have been 60% to the general fund and 40% to the grant. So we're gonna have to make some adjustments. that was just an error on our part. Katie originally had proposed moving it to an 80% town, 20% grant split. But again, because of the budget pressures and the insurance, we just couldn't accommodate that this year. So when we took the budget to revert back to the split, we inadvertently switched. Because, you know, anytime you talk 60-40, 60-40, it was just an error on our part. So we will, I'll propose for the next EHS, I'll have the clean copy, hopefully, to present to you. But overall, the budget itself is just, this is Katie's salary.
Yep.
Okay, so with just the regular 2% increase. The custodian, unfortunately, Mr. Bond has decided to
Today was his last day.
leave.
Okay.
Which we thank him for his work with the town and move on. It's well deserved to move into retirement the second time around. So that position will be posted. That is offset, his salary is offset by the formula grant as well as the facilities revolving account that we have. So any rents that we get for the community center go into that revolving fund, as well as the R&V rents, any town rents revolving, so that goes into that fund. So we offset part of that salary there. Again, electricity has been moved to a town account, and minimal increases for repair and maintenance of equipment, data processing, and some janitorial supplies, we increased it just 2%, but like small numbers on small, like big percentages, we increased janitorial supplies. It says 2%, but we went from 1428 to 1457. So that's a small number, but it makes a big percentage.
Yep.
And Katie can talk about any programs if you wish, but that is the budget that we're recommending, and we will have the corrected.
Okay.
You get us a copy of that
Yeah.
when it comes
Yes.
time?
Yeah, I said.
Yeah, he'll bring
I'm
it.
sorry, if I should correct. Yes, I said at the perhaps at the next EHS for
Okay.
the
I'm
school budget. I know I'm talking that way. I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it does seem very cut and dry again to me. So, does anybody have any questions at the table?
No.
No. Does anybody else have any questions out there? George?
I just like to say, I've been actively involved in
Yeah.
senior issues, and I just want to say the great work that Katie does there. She has expanded the senior center from zero to twofold. It's, people use it, they come, we have programming for the exercise. I mean, we just got so much going on, and it angers me when people out there say that she runs a stagnant program. Well, that's because they don't go there and see exactly what's going on with what she does every day. Not only what she does at the senior center, as well how she helps the seniors on stuff that probably she didn't have to. But she's compassionate to the seniors, and she helps them out, and it's a blessing that we have her.
That is what I have been hearing as well. And Katie, do you have anything you want to say about this, about the community center? Or?
It is very busy. I love the people. They're great. We have a great community. I mean, you know, same as you, born and bred here, and I love my community. I love my town. It's nice to see people, you know. Chair yoga is like a little SHS reunion
Yeah.
for the retired teachers, so it's nice to be able to give back to the people that helped raise me and helped me to become who I am. So it's a great feeling.
I feel the same way. It's a nice feeling to enjoy coming to work in the morning. You know.
I do want to state one
yeah.
thing, and I don't want to
Please.
forget before. We are also proposing to change Katie's classification up into the MS schedule, because she does supervise the recreation director and runs the center, and she's actually being paid below the recreation director. So the overall impact to the town would only be about $1,200 because of the formula grant, but we will proposing to
For this
move-
budget.
for this budget to
Okay.
move her to the MS schedule to reflect that she's in a supervisory capacity.
Makes sense. Anybody else have anything to add? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 7 is review, discuss the FY 2026-1631 Recreation Department budget in the amount of $80,938. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved.
I'll stay
Okay.
just in case because he
Yeah.
has an activity going on right now. In
Oh,
case you have
that's
a
great.
question.
That's great to hear.
You can prepare the buttons.
So on this budget, Again, salaries would just reflect the normal cost of living increase and step increase. The part-time personnel is for his summer programs.
Yep,
And he usually has a very robust summer program, I believe.
yes.
Located at West Street School.
Nope, he's at the
As
community
it's
center,
community
yeah.
center. I always lose track now because we have so many programs going on in town between cops and kids, and I think it's a good partnership that we have cops and kids plus the town youth program. It's different age groups.
It's different age groups, and they
So-
take turns at the pool, so there's, at the pool a different day, so there's one day where it's a little less crazy.
Yep. And then the specialized services are a reflection of the increase in the cost for the treatment at the res. I had already brought it to town council for approval of that contract. This just reflects the increase for that, to maintain that property. And as you saw this year, by maintaining that property in the water, it was a nice winter.
Very nice.
A lot of activities. Kudos to Katie and Mike and the volunteers for opening that facility. It was nice to see that active. And outside of that, there is, we did reduce conference and meetings by 45% for next year. And that's all I have. So there was a reduction by 45%.
That's good. Anybody else have anything to add? Councillor Shenier and then Chairman Lazo.
Question, I don't, the recreation facilities that we have throughout the town, where does that fall under, like, for the maintenance of that? We're gonna have the trails, for instance, the bike trail coming on, and who's gonna be responsible for the maintenance, or?
Well, the rail trail would be the responsibility of the DPW as well as the Trails Committee. I mean, we have a volunteer Trails Committee, but they want to be very active, and we'll be coming to it. Well, I'll be looking at the DPW budget because there's some recreational materials that we look to buy them. They would like to buy maybe a weed whacker and some equipment. They've already worked with the community center. I've looked across the street at Moore Street in the storage area to take that area and clean it up and make their area for them to have their trails equipment, because there's trails up behind Moore Street plus all the other trails. So they want their equipment because the former DPW director, we're talking former DPW director, wouldn't allow them to use their equipment from the DPW. And it only makes sense. Let's purchase some equipment. They have it at their expense. They can use it whenever they want, not degenerate. The other fields, I think we're gonna have, Henry Street Field is maintained by Softball Association. The Little League uses it, but the DPW does mow the lawns and all that. Morris Street Field now, as you know, we gave it a license agreement, so there's a group maintaining that field and gonna do some upgrades there. So,
Do we have an agreement with the West Street facility that's being used by a outside baseball team?
no, because West Street, the Upper West Street Field,
Yes.
that is used by the school department, so that would be the
East of,
school
uh,
department.
This is
Southbridge
school.
Spectacles, is that what you're
Southbridge
talking about, the
Spectacles.
base?
But that field is the Suffrage
That's in the
Public
school.
Schools, so that would go through the Suffrage Public Schools.
No, that field is.
West Street,
I was-
West Street baseball field is Suffrage Public Schools.
Yes, it is.
The lower fields are the town fields. The upper fields are the town's, schools fields.
It's probably not time for discussion, but when I was on the recreation committee, the fields belonged to the town, and we allowed use to the school.
Yeah, we can have another
Okay.
conversation about that,
Alright.
because I think we researched that and we found out that the schools maintain those fields.
When George was on the recreation committee, George Washington crossed to Delaware.
So we can have another conversation offline
I
about
will,
that.
I'll see.
No, definitely. But that's where, I do know the Suffrage Youth Soccer did contact me, Mr. Canoyer from, I have to get back to him about some improvements down at that lower field, so we'll have to take a look at that.
Right, and there's nothing in the budget for the tennis courts. Is there a plan in action for the tennis courts? I know
Well, we have the open space and recreation plan that's ongoing, that is looking at all our open space, and I believe they incorporated that space to see what we could do with that. That's gonna take some money.
major money. and
Major money. We've closed that off and gated it. Well, it's been gated, but we padlocked it because the schools were using it previously for kids. And I inspected it with Mr. Benoit when he was here, and it was not conducive for even kids being on there because of the large gaps and cracks and
Okay.
major elbow. I mean, that would be a nice facility. Outdoor pickleball is a big thing, but we just did that at Charlton Street, so we'll have to look at part of that open space and recreation plans is for our recreation. That will be coming forward. They had a meeting Monday night, but they have undertaken through that grant process a total within the building envelope. I mean, it's a nice dream, but in some preliminary architecture plans about upgrading that whole community center with some very, I mean, within the building envelope, if we could ever pull it off and reconfigure space, it would be a beautiful facility for the community and the seniors. But they are also gonna give us, we gotta remember, we've been around council, downtown manager for a long time, those that have been here. 2016, that study that was done, they took a lot of that information from that study, so they're gonna give us a list of priorities of what we need to address immediately. We just did the doors down there, all the exterior doors. So we're moving along. The kitchen hopefully will be done soon, and we'll move on. But we did incorporate, because some of the plans call for changes in flow, and we worked with them to say, hey, if we do this kitchen and you want to move a wall, is the hood that we're going to put through the ceiling, because we have to put a return here, is it going to work? We sent them the plans, so we're working cooperatively now on that kind of stuff, and it's nice to know the history, right, Mr. Chairman?
Always.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Are you good too, Councilor Shenye?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mr. Chairman, you had some words?
I'd just like to take a shout out for the volunteers. We do a lot of work, a lot of people are employed by the town of Southbridge to move and spin the wheels and get the gears in motion. AJ and Judy Larochelle up at the Res, it's been their personal mission to open that up for skating, and I know we've had warm winters. This was like the first winter that we actually, could open up the Res and have skating. But I think with the stuff going on with the vegetation and everything else, the building, DPW's done a fantastic job. But I think the workability with the volunteers has been so much better than when I first got on council.
Yeah.
Seems like everybody wants to pull the rope in the same direction, not in opposite directions. But Judy and AJ Larochelle, outstanding job at the Res.
Definitely, the Irish
Thank you.
show is huge for the
I'll
rest.
throw John in there too. When we got that ice
Don't
storm,
forget Johnny, he was up there.
he was there at about 6
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning plowing
That's
before
'cause
us because
AJ
it would have froze over if he
That's
hadn't
'cause
gotten
AJ
out there.
That's because AJ puts the whip on Johnny, his younger brother.
But he was out there all
I
morning
know.
because that was that ice storm that it would have ruined the ice had it not been cleared
That's
out.
right, that's right.
And it gave us a few more weeks.
Pretty cool. It's a good thing to see Southbridge doing things like that again. It's just nowhere to go but up now. Anybody else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thank you very much again.
Okay, this time I'm me.
Alright, agenda item number 8 is review and discuss the FY 2026 1543/1545 Veteran Service Budget in the amount of $79,460. Entertain a motion to submit to Town Council as presented.
So moved.
Alright,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So in this budget, it's simple, reflects a payment of the Veteran Services Officer, and also he serves as the Graves Registration Officer, so that salary is incorporated in here as well. So that's a separate appointment as Graves Registration Officer. And then conference and meetings and dues and subscriptions. So pretty much, he does a great job. You gotta remember too that he not only serves Southbridge, but he serves as the Veteran Services Officer, Director,
District Director, yeah.
Auburn, Southbridge,
Charlton, Oxford.
Charlton, Oxford. So we do have an intermittent split agreement where we cost share, so we get money in from the other towns that offsets his salary. But in this, because it's not grant funded or anything, it doesn't show in here, it's just a reimbursement that comes to the town.
no, it's great. Keith, you always do a great job, and it seems like this budget really hasn't changed at all, except for normal COLA increase. So,
Correct.
do you have anything else you wanted to add?
The only thing I have is we're gonna do the
Yeah.
unclassified.
The what? Yeah, so tomorrow night, but if Keith has any questions for the councils, then I'll present it tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
But in the
Was that on the first page with Bay Path?
Yes, with Bay Path, if you look at that, and that, we didn't put it on here as a motion, but, it is part of this, and I apologize, we just missed it.
Yeah, no, I think,
Second.
I heard about that, yeah, the
Yeah.
increase in the, yep.
So you have the veterans benefits, and we'll make a motion, but if anybody has any questions tonight, tomorrow night's your meeting. So in that, we have veterans memorials and veterans benefits. So, veterans memorial, we have pretty much level funded that at $3,200 a year. He asked for an increase because a lot of things are older and wants to upgrade them. So we recommend that for our veterans, and then we'll have them explain any veterans benefits if you have any.
Yeah, so the increase is not really coming out of anything other than another line item, which is the veterans benefits line item, just transferring. You see, it goes from 135 to 133.
Yep.
too. So just asking to transfer the money from one account to another. And then that veterans benefits, that's the benefits that we pay out to the veterans that qualify for Chapter 115. Any of that money that we do spend, 75% of it comes back as long as I get an approval and do my job.
Yep. No, understood. I
So
mean,
far, so good.
as I know that's on tomorrow nights, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no one more important than the elderly and the veterans in this town. So I'm glad that we doing what we can.
And I think moving forward, we're gonna take better note to see how these classify in different subcommittees to say, you know, it really should be, but it comes under the treasurer's budget because of the other, it's a crazy convoluted.
The way the money
we
comes
do
back.
things that the way
Yeah.
we've done it in the past, so we do have to clean that up. But thank you for refreshing my memory that that's what we did the transfer, that Keith said, hey, look, I'm not asking for any more money, I just want to reallocate.
No, understood. Well, so that one's on tomorrow night. Thanks for the information. Does anybody have anything else about the veterans budget?
I'd just like to say thank you, Keith, for all what you do for all our vets.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Thank you very much, Keith. Agenda item number 9 is adjournment.
Nope, there was an amended agenda that I
Oh,
sent out to
you
you.
know what?
Right here, you can read it.
Got it right here. Agenda item number 9, review and discuss authorizing the town manager to award the contract for the emergency jack replacement for the elevator at West Street School to Associated Elevator in the amount of $92,178 and allow the town manager to sign all related documents.
Could you also add Ed to take motions and recommend to council?
And entertain a motion to recommend to the council for approval.
So moved.
Second. So, West Street School, the main elevator has been down for a extended period of time. We had to put in for a DCAM waiver for bidding purposes. We were granted that DCAM waiver. There was a lot of proposals going back and forth, and we actually ended up having to hire an elevator architect to do this jack proposal because the drawings were so old to draw up the complete specs. This is the elevator that services the entire school for students to go throughout the building. There is a secondary elevator in the back, which more or less is used for like a freight type elevator. Fortunately, they haven't had students that have needed it, but we're not in compliance with ADA,
Right.
so that's hence the emergency.
Understood.
We did have that proposal written up. This person that wrote up the proposal, they're one of the top firms in Massachusetts with the elevators. It was a direct invite for people to bid on this job. We had multiple companies. We had 3 companies that come out and bid. Lowest bid was $91,000. Anticipated was $150,000 just to do this one jack. We got it in at $91,000. And they'll schedule out the work and get it completed as soon as possible.
Okay. Anybody have anything to add to that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Agenda item number 10 is adjournment.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 6:49 p.m.